right, everybody, welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky CAMILLERI. In 2001, just after the September 11th attacks, a group of paramilitary officers and Green Berets were sent into Afghanistan to fight the first battle in the war on terror. Little did they know they would be doing most of the battle on horseback. This is the story of 12 Strong, the film our next guests, which include stars Chris Hemsworth, Shannon, Peña, Trevante Rhodes, producer and star Thad Luckinbill, and producer Jerry Bruckheimer are here to talk about. Let's get a round of applause for all those amazing names that are here, guys. Before we bring them out, I want to remind our guests watching from home they can submit questions to our guests via the Submit a Question button right next to the video they are watching. Now, let's take a look at the trailer for 12 Strong.
The most important thing a man can take into combat is a reason why.
Be in this fight, boys. You mark my words.
Can't you hear me knocking on your window?
19 men attacked our country. The 12 of you will be the first ones to fight back.
Can't you
It's us. We're going
hear
in.
me knocking on your door?
You know I love you, right?
I would be remiss if I did not say to you, even in success, the odds of you coming home.
You're 100%, sir. We're coming home.
Why these men follow you?
Take me to the Taliban. I'll show you.
Okay, we take horses.
You serious?
All right, who's ridden before? Anyone?
Cancun, spring break. Girls pretty hammered.
Hey, this will be fun.
50,000 al-Qaida fighters, and you're just an army of 12.
You've just been handed the most important mission in the free world.
Hold on. Our boys are gonna ride into battle on horseback?
Chances are we are not going to make it out of this one. We quit now. What happened back home is going to happen again and again. Each of you got to make this decision.
Nothing I'd rather do.
I'm in. Thought you'd never ask. Where the hell did those come from? Take out biggest guns first.
I am your biggest gun, Capt.
The only way home is winning.
This is from the towers. You carry that with you.
Everybody, please put your hands together for Chris Hemsworth, Shannon, Peña, Trevante Rhodes, Thad Luckinbill, and Jerry Bruckheimer. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the film. Congratulations on another successful film, Jerry, which is at like number 150 on your list.
Something like that.
Yeah. Let's talk about how this started. It's based on a true story. It was declassified just a few years ago, right? So when did you get your hands on the material, and what made you want to turn this into a movie?
We got it about 8 years ago. We read the galleys of the book and fell in love with it. I love telling true stories about people that you'll never know about unless we make movies about them. People that should be remembered, like these 12 men. They're phenomenal heroes. They don't see themselves as heroes. They just ordinary guys who are just doing their job. They're highly intelligent. They're also deadly. But they're diplomats. They go into these countries, try to convince the populace they're not invading the country. They're trying to get rid of the invaders, and that's what these 12 men did.
And Thad, when did you join the project as well? You're a producer as well as a co-star in the film.
Yes, we came on probably about maybe a year and a half ago. I have to think about the exact date, but like Jerry said, it was one of those things that, you know, we've made a lot of movies about dramatic events, some real, some not, like Sicario or La La Land. But this, for us, was just something we love. The military, we love what these guys do, what they stand for, and the ability to be able to tell it and to tell it with a guy like Jerry Bruckheimer and this cast was just a no-brainer for us.
Chris, you're coming from the success of Thor last year. Congratulations on that. What made you want to go from a movie like that, a part like that, to a part like this, a completely different kind of hero?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing make-believe heroes, and then to take on a character like this and be part of the story about real-life heroes was something I was honoured to be asked to be a part of, excited to embark on this adventure, but certainly aware of the sort of responsibility that we all had to do the story justice, do these guys justice. The fact that it was a true story, you know, that I didn't know anything about this mission, and a lot of people didn't because it was classified. And the way it was done, you know, I remember reading the script the first time Jerry had given it to me, and the fact that these men rode into battle on horseback, you know, which then reverted to World War I guerrilla warfare tactics, and adapted and evolved, and what they pulled off in this mission is one of the greatest military achievements in history.
Did you have any? Did you meet with the man that you're portraying?
We did, yeah. Spent a bunch of time with him, and it was incredible, you know. And what stood out, I think, to most of us was the authenticity that these guys have. You know, there's no dramatization of the events they were a part of. There's no ego. It's just matter of fact. This is my job, and a very incredibly selfless sort of person to put themselves in harm's way in this setting for the rest of our safety, you know.
When it comes to the dramatization of this real story, how do you go about writing the script and go about, because you're going to have to shift things around just a little bit for the purpose of telling a story and having an arc. How do you feel comfortable with that and maintain the authenticity of the events?
Well, we had a phenomenal blueprint. Doug Stanton wrote the book called Horse Soldiers, which 12 Strong is based on. So he documented everything that actually happened. He talked to almost every operative, not only the 12 men who went out. He talked to the CIA who went in first. He talked to the support groups. He talked to the Night Stalkers who flew him in. We met some of the men yesterday that I hadn't met before, and they said how accurate the movie is. It gets the essence of the operation. It's not, we are Hollywood, and we add drama to things and change some things around. But the real guys are out promoting the movie with us, which is unheard of it. And it's such a hard thing as a producer to do when you take a true story and portray these men and then you show it to them. That is the scariest moment for me, that they don't look at you and want to choke you because, you know, you misrepresent.
They could. They're trained.
Yes,
you know?
No kidding. That would be easy to choke me. But so the fact that they like the movie and are actually going out there and helping us promote the movie and trying to get people to see how brave these guys were, but they don't see themselves that way, as I said earlier, I think it's phenomenal that the military is supporting the film. Because what Hollywood usually does is show our fighting men coming home damaged. And these men came home as heroes, but nobody knew they were heroes until this movie came out, until the book.
Well, it is one of those strange things where, as we see in the film, there is a memorial to them at the World Trade Center site. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I think I've seen that. And I had no idea what that was when I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. I think it was a cover of Time magazine where they had these guys with Oakley shades on, and they were riding these horses, and they had baseball caps on backwards. And I said, who are these guys? And then this book came out, and I said, wow, I really have to study this and try to get the rights to the book and make this movie.
Michael, you're in, I think, so many films in a year, and they range from Oscar-nominated to superhero to small independent films, always amazing performances. What made you want to take part in this project?
Oh, well, thanks for saying that.
You're welcome.
A couple of things. First of all, you know, Jerry I give him a lot of credit for the fact that I got a career in this business. He gave me 3 of my first big jobs, and he really took a chance on me when a lot of people didn't know who I was. Pearl Harbor, right. Bad Boys 2, and Kangaroo Jack. And well, you can laugh, but Kangaroo Jack was the most money anybody had ever paid me to act in my life. So I was pretty freaking happy about it.
It's an Australian classic.
Yeah.
And that's why you wanted to do it, because
he's a bigger star than I am.
The other thing was,
Australia.
to get back to my Australian roots.
You heard the guy from Kangaroo Jack was doing the movie, and you got on board. Yeah.
That's why I signed up.
No, but and also like like Jerry and Chris have said, I was just I'm very moved by the notion that these fellas who are trained to kill, to do combat, to do war, that the first thing in their mind when they go into a situation like this isn't, you know, how many people can we kill? It's how many people can we reach? How many people can we teach? And how many people can we ourselves learn from? And what can we learn in this situation? And I think that's such an important message right now in the world when we have, you know, such divisive things going on, people talking about other countries with such disrespect, you know. These men went into this strange, scary country with the utmost respect for the people that lived there and tried to understand their point of view. And I think if we don't do that, not just in the military, but people in general, the future of our planet is in jeopardy. So I think it's a very important lesson.
They also went in there with an attempt to sort of bridge the divide between factions within the country as well, not just rally one faction to their side.
Exactly, but never assuming that they knew better than the people that lived there. They knew going in that they had something to learn, that they weren't going to understand everything, that they couldn't just prescribe some sort of doctrine and try and get all these people to follow it, that they had to be flexible as well. I just think it's a beautiful mission. You know, if you take all the bombs and the explosions out of it, which were a necessary part of it, and there was some bad hombres you get rid of, no doubt about it, but that's what drew me to the story personally.
Jerry, I'm curious, what drew you to Michael Shannon early in his career that made you cast him in his 3 first big roles?
He's a brilliant actor. He really is. He's one of the ones that, you know, I always go to because he can do anything. I mean, you see his body at work. It's just phenomenal. And, you know, he's fun to be with. That's, you know, it's like going to, I don't know if you ever went to camp when you were a kid and you make friends with a group of people and then you're gone. You know, you're there for 3 or 4 weeks, and that's what movie making is. You sit around and you work really hard and you're together and you have like a close-knit group of friends. And then we all disappear and go off to other projects. So the ones you really like, you want to bring back. And all these guys I want to work with again. They were just terrific to make this film with.
Michael, can you talk about the real man that you portrayed in the film? Did you have a chance to meet up with him?
Yeah, I got to meet him in Albuquerque, and it's amazing how much they recall from that. They actually recall everything, every detail, and it was really cool to hear their stories. And just going on Jerry, like, they're going to see it tonight. Half of them are going to see it tonight. I hope the guy that I portrayed isn't surprised that I'm Mexican and he's not. You know, the guy that Chris is playing is going to be like, oh, nice. I deserve that. My guy, maybe not so much.
What was the shoot like for you guys, Trevante? I mean, had you ridden a horse before? Actually, I don't remember your character rides too much in the film.
A little bit.
We all attempt.
We all attempted. You know, I mean, I grew up in Texas, so I say yes, but you know, when I was maybe 10, we did the little kiddie corral, little on a donkey or something like that. But yeah, that was about it until we got into the space, and then we all kind of trained together.
What was the training like?
It was pretty intense. I guess it was what, three or 4 weeks, something like that. And we wake up. First thing we did was horseback riding. Then we go to weapons training, and then military jargon and I guess formation training and things of that nature. So there was hours of bonding time, which I think translated to the film coincidentally.
What was it like for you coming from Moonlight from last year and the amazing success of that beautiful film?
Oh wow! Thank you guys. That's awesome.
To making a movie like this?
I mean, it was amazing. To me, it's all the same, to be quite honest. When you're in the space, you're in the space, and it's about the people you get to share the space with, But the training was obviously, big time difference. But I mean, that's why you do a film, I think, to go through the training and to spend the time with the guys and then to develop these relationships and then to try and portray that on the screen to the best of your abilities. And then, you come away from it. And so every experience to me is the same.
Chris, your real life wife portrays your wife in the film as well. How did that come about?
I think you guys brought it up.
Yeah, we saw her in a bunch of her previous work, and we didn't really, we thought of her first before we thought of Chris. So,
she cast me.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, she helped us get Chris, and vice versa.
Yeah, it was great. You know, we'd had 7 years of rehearsal for that relationship, and if we, were struggling with chemistry, we would have been in trouble. So it was good though. We got 3 little kids. So it was somewhat of a holiday for us to be at work together, away from the kids.
Because a lot of time you guys don't get to. I mean, you're on location somewhere else. And
Yeah. Opposite sides of the world, or we're all together, but I'm on the set, and she's running around with the kids, and it was nice. Yeah.
Your character in the film has he's the only one who really has any training on horseback or had done any horseback riding prior to arriving in Afghanistan. What is your training? What is your history like with horses?
I'd done a bit, but mainly just for movies, and movies that required one scene worth of riding, and so I had a lot of catch up to do, and then we spent 4 months on horseback basically, and developed a much stronger passion for horse riding. My wife's a big horse rider, and we have a number of horses back home, but that's up until recently been sort of her thing, and now I'm into it.
How difficult is it to shoot a movie with a ton of horses in it, with a ton of animals?
They're always late, and they talk back.
It's interesting because you don't realize how much care we take care of our animals. They are babied. We only can ride them for a very short period of time. They need to rest. We have these wranglers, and the gentlemen will actually own the horses. And there's so much care and the way they groom them, the way they take care of them. It's an army that takes care of these horses and the animals that we use in movies. And there's also a humane society that's there with us to make sure everything goes right. So we're very diligent on how we treat our animals.
Thad, you're not only a producer in the film, you're also in the film as well. What is that like trying to act in front of the camera while at the same time you're in charge of a fair amount of what's going on behind the camera?
Well, I was very fortunate. Obviously, Jerry was there, and then I have 2 other partners. So, a lot of that fell on them to an extent. But it was really interesting. It always has been, because I've been an actor for a long time and a producer for a relatively short time. But it's always interesting now to do both, when I do both, because you do have a different perspective. And I think, oftentimes it gives me a little bit of an insight too, as to little things that I might see that the rest of everybody else doesn't, and then we can address and talk about. And but honestly, look, I started off as an actor almost 20 years ago. I love it. Actually, I auditioned for some of Jerry's movies that I didn't get cast in, but we'll talk about that later.
Shannon love.
Yeah.
Wait, what movie? Can I ask what movie?
Oh my God! I actually think my first one was Pearl Harbor. To be honest with you, I think it was one
Michael
of my
got that
first.
part.
He did, but he deserved it a lot. You didn't want to see my audition. But anyway, yeah, no, it's great. I really enjoyed being able to work with such a great cast. These guys are amazing. They really are, and you'll see it in the movie.
Yeah, it does seem like, as harrowing as the film is, it does seem like you guys all kind of got along and had a decent time while filming the movie. How important is that when you're making a movie like this and you're in a desert for 3-4 months?
Massive.
Yeah, there was some rough time. We did some crazy stuff. That night shoot when we get off the plane in the sandstorm. Literally sometimes we just turn to each other, just start laughing, and be like, I can't believe it. And we wouldn't just do it once or twice. We would do it 60 times. Yeah.
And 60 different
spend the whole
setups.
night.
Just to give you, basically there was a Chinook, which is like a long helicopter, and the tail end, here's a cliff, and the tail end of it just was on the cliff, and we were supposed to, and I remember when I first got out there, I'm like, get my things! Get my things! I thought I was gonna die. No, I'm serious. I'm like, so we were, they told us that they want us to run fast. I'm like, that's not gonna be a problem.
Although I should stress, Jerry never put us in any super precarious situations. I don't want anybody.
Yeah, let's
feeling
put that
sorry
disclaimer
us.
down for
Yeah.
sure.
It was a blue screen clip, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was green screen, but it still scared me.
Let's get some questions from our audience. Who has a question out here? Right here.
This question is really for Chris, but it's for everybody. How difficult is it to portray real characters as opposed to, well, at least I think fictitious ones like a Norse god, somebody in outer space, where chances are he might never be, for Michael Peña? And anybody's free to answer this, or everybody.
Sure. It's certainly, for me, it's the same approach. You want to put the same the same work in, the same research, and so on. It's a different type of research, obviously. But this story in particular, portraying these guys, there's like I said before, there's a definite anxiety and added weight and pressure, you know, to do it justice and do these guys proud.
I feel like it's a different kind of anxiety because you have real people who you're going to see after the film who are going to talk about it versus fans on Twitter who are going to drag you for not matching the comic book perfectly.
I don't know which scares me more, actually. What am I talking about? The comic book fans can be pretty intense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The military guys might be like, nice try, and walk away and not tweet about it.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to answer that question? You know, fictitious characters versus real people?
Once it was like, hey, this question is for Chris, I fell asleep for a little bit. I'm just kidding.
No, it's yeah, it's always a little more challenging. Yeah, it's a different process, really, for me. I mean, if there's somebody you can actually study, it's different than having to construct a person out of your imagination. You know, anytime I've played an actual person, I've just studied everything about them as much as I humanly possibly could. And although for this, oddly, I didn't, you know, I read the book and I kind of left it at that because I just knew that I am not going to be ultimately exactly like the guy I'm playing in this movie. It's just not possible. It's more about honestly, the group and why it was such an important thing for us to establish this group dynamic, which the camaraderie feeds into. Yeah.
Was that established over the course of the training? Like you guys spent 3 or 4 weeks together training, and that was kind of where you
Yeah, that
bonded?
definitely helped out. But I think it should be noted that also like the actor Naveed, you know, was instrumental in like getting all these Afghan people to be portrayed in the right light, and that, you know, the country isn't full of terrorists and people that just hate America. I'm like, they actually, you know, these 12 guys joined forces with these local Afghans to fight, in their mind, terrorism. And so it's as much a story about them and you know, their you know, quest for peace as it is anything else.
Well, he's got a wonderful monologue in the film about how modern Afghanistan was at one point prior to the Taliban.
Yeah.
Or parts of it were. Next question.
Hi, thank you all for being here today. It was great hearing you speak. I just want to say foremost that it's really great to see more positive male role models out there, especially on screen. It's definitely a lot more needed today now more than ever. And so I was just really curious for all of you, who are some strong and positive male role models in your life?
I mean, my dad was still is one of my heroes and the most positive influence in my life. But you know, both my parents, to be honest. Yeah.
You won't get your mom mad at you, do you?
No, she might be back there somewhere.
I mean, I was going to honestly say my mother. I mean, I know obviously she's not, but she was both to me and has been since birth. So, I mean, more than anything. And she's here, so I had to say that too. Love you, man.
Anyone else want to go, or should we just
go ahead, Mike?
No, I just, you know, the guy that my character is based on is an amazing role model. I remember when we were in the restaurant at the hotel. Do you remember those push-ups he did?
Yeah.
I'd never seen anything like this guy. I mean, what is he, in his late 50s now? He's got a bad back. He did this push-up, and these are some strong dudes around here. Could anyone else do it? Nobody else could do it.
Trevante, maybe.
Trevante, maybe.
Wait, what was the put? Like, what did the
He did it with his pinkies.
His hands all the way
Show
in
us.
front of him like this. I can't do it. I'll look like an idiot. And then his feet in the back. So his hands are like this, and then he does a push-up like that. Wow. Yeah. I know it sounds like, oh, it can't be that hard. It was I watched every member of the cast try to do one and fail.
Next question.
Hi, I was just curious, what did you learn from each of your characters the most?
How to do a push-up.
Humility. Humility and hard work for me.
And for me, what I learned is I'm like that there's a special kind of person that does this kind of thing. Like they have the ability to overcome their fears and conquer their fears in a way so that they can keep their composure and their wits about them, so that they're still able to carry on this mission. Like if I mean, I'm glad that I'm pretending to be this way, but it's, I mean, they're a special breed of, I guess, soldier, you could say.
But they're not invincible, and they're not invulnerable. You know, even like I was saying before, the fella, he's so strong and everything, but he really did get hurt over there, and he was in a compromised position where he couldn't do what he normally did, and how do you deal with that when you're in a foreign environment and you're not, your strength is taken away from you, to have the grace and the wisdom and the patience not to get totally freaked out, you know. But they're not invincible, and you know, no matter how much training they have, no matter how strong they may seem from a distance, they really are making a huge sacrifice to go over there and do this.
Next question. I think this is our last one.
Hello, gentlemen. My question is, you guys have all been acting for so long, so when you meet new actors and so many male leads and you travel a lot, is there anything that changes in your acting or just any new skills you pick up and so on?
I think I try and learn something from everybody I work with, you know, and that's the great thing about, you know, changing jobs, and, you know, you're in the same profession, but you have a different environment each film. And I think just staying open and stealing all the bits and pieces that other people are laying out in front of you is something I hang on to.
I want to move that question to Jerry because he's produced 7,000 films. Like, what do you learn at this point going into 7,001? Like, do you feel like you know everything, or are you still learning something new on every film?
Well, if I don't learn something new every day, I feel I failed, and or meet somebody new. Those are all great things that we can take in, and every movie I make, there's something different that you pick up, and I wish I knew it all, but I don't. I'm struggling to get through it every day to make the movies better and have better relationships with the people around me. So I think we're just communicators. We communicate. We transport you from one place to another. And this movie really transports you. And what's so wonderful, it's a big adventure. And it's a kind of movie you really want to see in a theater. You want to see it in IMAX. It's one of those pictures that just surrounds you with the sound and the visuals. And our director, Nikolai, is a visual genius, and you'll see this movie, and these guys actually did it. They rode those horses. There were explosions all around them, and they did a phenomenal job. I mean, they're firing weapons, they're riding horses, there are bombs going off around them. And what you see on the screen, 90% of it is real. So this was quite an accomplishment for everybody involved in this film, and I'm really proud of everybody.
Absolutely. If you are going to see it, go see it on IMAX. It's beautiful. The surroundings, the landscapes are incredible. And I had never seen any of Nikolai's films before, but he's really on top of it here. It's an incredible job.
First one.
It's his first one?
Yeah, first movie.
I'm supposed to end, but how did you find this guy to direct this film as his first-time director?
Well, I saw he's an award-winning commercial director, and when you look at his commercials, you see that he can tell a story in 30 or 60 seconds, and yet create pathos, create humor. He does such wonderful things with little moments, and he does it in this movie too. And he's got this visual style that's extraordinary, and that's why we hired him.
Well, guys, congratulations on the film. It
Thank you
opens
much.
this Friday, right? Go
Thank
see
you.
it in IMAX. Everybody, give them a massive round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
12 strong.
Thank you, guys.